Hello everyone and welcome to the final day of the first week of the North American ESL Pro League. And my oh my, we've got some great games ahead of us this evening. Starting with getting to see some familiar faces and some new faces in the form of EnVy, their first ever game. I'm excited to see how that goes down and what this team can deliver on top of Ints as well. Controversial players, but a team that has potential. And today we're going to find out how it's all going to go down.
Down for Nitro, gets the ace!
He's the only one, sees the shadow, gets the shot, gets the follow-up. It's target practice for Fur.
3 players here, Zipex comes through. Starless, they've done it!
My name is James Banks and I'm joined as always by the analytical genius in the form of Natu. How are you doing today? Are you going to be able to actually talk to me and not just freeze up on me like earlier? This guy's doing it again.
I don't talk to you.
Oh, it's just me really, it's just me.
It's gonna be, yeah, you're just gonna have to talk to yourself. No, I'm good. I'm looking forward to, obviously, really interested to see EnVy, first of all, getting that first glimpse of that team. I think it's a bit of a mixed bag of a lineup, honestly, looking into it. But now, I mean, they get to go straight to the deep end of the pool, playing against Liquid.
This is it, right? They get a tough game to start things off. But before we get into that game, we're going to take a quick look at the standings and where we're currently sat at for the ESL Pro League. Now, Renegades, they've been this shock factor, right? They're a new team in a sense of had to play and change 2 players in there, but they're currently sat at top of the standings. And Ghost Gaming, who have impressed us to no end, they've had really good results and they've just looked like a very complete team.
Yeah, honestly, very, very surprising, actually. I mean, obviously, we already saw in Stockholm that they can play very competitively. Beating Navi, the best of 1, taking them to the stretch in a best of 3. So, yeah, obviously a great start. We're still looking for more from teams like Cloud9, obviously.
Definitely.
NRG, still early days for them in the season. Apart from that, United, I actually also, even though their record is not amazing, they still play some solid Counter-Strike.
Yeah, you still got to put them up there, right? The same as like you look at Cloud9, you want to see them do a little bit better. Luminosity, okay, they got a win finally yesterday, but it's been a tough round for them. And this Brazilian mix of like where we're getting with it, right? In terms of we've got Made in Brazil who are still doing better. They started off to a rough start with their Ghost Gaming, but they're making it work. And then you've got the full Brazilian lineups, 2 of them now.
Yeah, there's a lot of Brazilians. I mean, if you come think about it, in the North American Pro League, right? Great imports, obviously, and and we used to have, obviously the previous SK, now MIBR, and then you have Immortals back in the day, and then a bit of an explosion happened in the scene, which we can touch on later. And then, well, basically, I guess the positive out of that is that we have more Brazilian teams playing in the top-tier NA Counter-Strike.
Fallen and the guys have paved the way to ensure that more and more players, more and more teams come through from this region. It's not like back in our day, right? We're looking at 1.6. You literally just had the original Made in Brazil lineup, and there wasn't much else we get to see from them.
Yeah, G3X was then, back then.
Oh, yeah.
Those were it too. G3X was the one trailing MIBR, but I think 95% of our viewership won't even know what G3X is.
We can one day, if we have to feel for a very long time, Nati, we'll go on to this old school. But our first game coming up, right, it's going to be Team Liquid taking on EnVy. We get to see a brand new roster being played here in the form of EnVy. They've got tough opponents to start off with. Then we've got Ints, is the one we were talking about, versus Made in Brazil. The Made in Brazil team, obviously, with the 2 Americans. Ints, the full Brazilian lineup. And then we'll end the day with Cloud9 taking on Rogue. And Cloud9, they should be very scared because Rogue have looked pretty fierce.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this matchups, obviously, I think the first 2 are a bit of mismatch. Liquid, heavy favorite, MIBR, heavy favorite. But then Cloud9 Rogue, I think that's going to be a very, very close one. I feel like that has the most potential to be a 1-1.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that because Cloud9 have kind of, okay, they're good on some maps, but they're still obviously learning a lot with this new change. They've had Flusher and Golden come in. Yeah,
good halves. They've had solid halves. I think they've improved on their T sides. But they still got to be able to put it together. You gotta get those 16 rounds to get the numbers on the board.
Oh yes. Well, before we get there, we're going to be starting with EnVy taking on Team Liquid, and that is just a storied roster.
The pre-match.
That's right. It is the Vodafone pre-match, and it is EnVy taking on Team Liquid. EnVy, Let's start with them, right? Because we know Liquid inside and out. We've seen so much of this. EnVy's lineup, first official game we get to see them play, and we get to see them debut here on the North American ESL Pro League. We've got JDM with his lean back in his chair actions, his very cool and calm approach to the game.
Of that?
Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, production, I'm listening. Like, if we can, we'll just get a webcam Skype call with JDM so we can just see exactly how far back he is. But a very capable AWP. We haven't seen him for a while since he left Liquid, right? So this is the time for him to try and shine with this roster. But you said they're quite a mixed bag, right? We're not sure where this is going to go.
No, really. I mean, there's also Nifty, very, very good opper. He was the main opper for Renegades, but I feel like JDM is such a, I think, one-trick pony to an extent that I think JDM is going to be the main opper, and Nifty might be the more hybrid kind of role. And I think it can definitely be an asset if Nifty's rifling is up to the potential that it needs to be, and then you have that scare factor of having those two great oppers double opping on a CT side, for example. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. Then you put someone like Semfis, obviously Cutler, both have a wealth of experience of being in, you know, at the top, not the top, but like above the pro scene average, you could say, the major level players still. And they've definitely, I mean, Cloud9, CLG, to name a few teams that these guys have played for before. So, I mean, there's definitely ingredients, but it's really hard to like pinpoint what do you expect out of them, because like just looking at the team, there's so many questions. Zero answers, because we've not seen them play once. So, I mean, obviously, it's not the easiest way to start against Liquid and to really like get a view of them. So we kind of, I feel like, I don't think we can really judge them off of these two maps. We have to go and look a little bit further down the road in the Pro League to really get some answers. But at least we get a bit of a glimpse of what they're capable of.
Well, before we go any further with looking at this matchup, let's have a quick look over and see what this EnVyUs roster can do.
Back in June, the Team EnVyUs organization announced their exit from CSGO by releasing their French roster. After being active on the French scene from the dawn of their organization, a longer period of losses resulted in Team EnVy's search for greener pastures. They expressed their wishes of joining the North American scene instead. This recently came true as they picked up a North American roster consisting of the former Splice core of Cutler, Semfis, and Drone, who will be joined by the just 20-year-old former Renegades player Nifty, also known as 50 Nifty.
Could be everything for them. Open two rifles on each side.
Nifty locking down the CT angle, hasn't spotted anyone out just yet, but Oscar will go down. Nifty again.
Nifty!
Close it out. Sonny will go down.
And Renegades, it's map number 3. So many overtime, so many rounds. 50 frags from Nifty.
The last member of the new look Boys in Blue is JDM, who has now finally found a new home after being benched from Team Liquid all the way back in February. Today will be the first time this new lineup will get the opportunity to show what they can do together.
There you go. You take a little bit of a more closer look and hear the story behind this EnVy roster. And it's a roster that definitely needs to deliver, I think, right? But either way, having Team Liquid as your first game, yes, we know it's going to be tough. We don't really know how they're going to play. We don't know how their even map call is going to pan out, but maybe a looser style. If they even get a few rounds or walk away with one map out of the two here, I think they could be very happy with that as a starter.
Really played a lot of competitive Counter-Strike for a good while. You know, I think they said it was back in February, right? So it's been a long time. That's a long time to be away from these fast-paced situations. Take a bit of time for you to get used to it once again. It doesn't matter if you played Gathers, Pugs, this and that.
Not the same.
It's a different world than playing Pro League matches, right? So you kind of have to give them a bit of lenience in that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what kind of a style they're even going to play. I mean, it's very, very interesting for me to see if it's going to be more structured, whether it's going to be more loose. I didn't know in Semfis back in the day, I think he was more into the looser style, more aggressive type, you know, a lot of defaults, not so much execute heavy. So depending on who actually is going to be leading this team, will obviously define it. Could be Cutler as well.
There you go. See, we don't even know exactly what we'll see until we get into the game for them. But moving on to Team Liquid, right? Okay, second off the back of ESL 1 New York. They're playing Inferno, which they've only lost once in the last 3 months. And that was to Astralis, the best team in the world, right? So Inferno's a pretty good map for them.
Solid track record.
Yeah, you can't really complain about that. And they've also played against teams at the very top, right? We're not just talking about their own region. We're talking about like your Mouse Sports, you're talking about MIBR, and these other teams have had to face off against. So I expect a good result here for Liquid, just statistically looking at it. But I feel also like we just need to see Liquid kind of use this as another bit of practice again for them, right? Because yesterday, we had a solid games in the end, but the first game was a little bit too close.
Yeah, definitely was. And the second game was too close the other way around. You know, they lost it, right? So that's not great. But yeah, no, I feel like for them, going into this kind of a matchup where going against the unknown, you kind of want to go for the vanilla style, meaning that you don't need to do any great tricks really. Just trust your fundamentals. But they understand the fact that your opponent has a lot to prove. They want to understand that they want to get those kind of wins. So yeah, be sure that you know they're probably going to be anti-stratting you.
And don't take Team Liquid lightly ever, I think is the main thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what Envy should be doing. But we're going to take a quick look at Twist as well, because Twist, he has been the player of Team Liquid over these last few months, and he's been playing absolutely phenomenal. So have a little check out of this.
Player in terms of just being able to get a lot of multi-kills a lot of times, even under pressure, it doesn't really matter. And just look at that clip here. Just like how stressless he is, the way that he plays. It's just he's making his own space, taking his time, and not making any hasty decisions. And just obviously aim is on point. It's just remarkable to watch.
Yeah, the little young star here, also a Canadian, to join our Canadian commentators when we bring them back in. And you've got to say, there's a lot of love for Twist at the moment, not just in his raw ability and skill, but the fact he's so young and able to do this on the biggest of stages.
Listen, I think guy has some amazing hair.
Yes, he definitely has some amazing hair. We could both do with a bit of that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, he's risen to like a whole new level recently. Yeah. Honestly, it's remarkable to see. Super Saiyan.
There you go. Launders and Scrawny are joining us. Launders loves to just, as soon as he gets that chance. You're looking pretty fresh, man. I can see which one that is, right?
Thank you.
That's the incredibly selling out.
It's unfortunate about this guy, but...
I know. Well, to be fair, you're right. He talks a little bit nicer. You've got the deeper, darker voice. You're the more rugged type.
Yeah, you're supposed to be mysterious when in reality
this is actually
shallow.
a nice color on you.
Thank you.
It is actually nice.
Yeah, suck it up.
Compliments. Now, guys, Team Liquid, right, going up against this new Envy roster. How excited are you just to see what this Envy roster can do? And do you think there's a lot of pressure on them? Because the Envy lineup of old, right, the French lineup, who didn't perform after time, they were obviously rightly so removed from the lineup, but they weren't given even a second chance. So it's now time for North America to have a bit of this.
It's crazy. Nobody expected Nifty to go to Envy. No. He had so much he had so much clout in the scene. It was like he could kind of have his pick of the litter. I'm sure he got offers from Cloud9 and like all other teams.
Very true.
You know, so who knows exactly what happened there? But at least maybe like Envy is a great org, and they have a lot of power. So if like the time comes and they made the right offer to Nifty, maybe they can build the team more around him in the future. So I think there's a lot of potential there. You know, Envy, legendary organization in the scene, major champion team. So I think it's a good place to start for sure. I don't know if this lineup as it is will be as good as everyone expects. Who knows? But there's potential for sure.
Yep, first game's underway, guys. Go ahead and enjoy. Let's see what this Envy roster can do.
Looks like they've got themselves already some B presence launders here at the very least, but it's not all good. They still have Nafly in the back of the site to try and deal with, and they've let him go unchecked. That's going to be dangerous. He is a killer in and of himself, and it's going to be just himself. Still 3 players, all trying to peek him, all isolating the duel, and therefore, we have Envy with a pistol.
Yeah, very nicely done. Clean entries, easy route onto the B site, and everyone looking sharp as ever. And we might have that new team motivation like we had with Renegades this season, who have they dropped a map? Yeah, they've lost 1 game. No, they've only...
Excuse me, it's an overtime win.
An overtime win, wow. Yeah, straight undefeated. Pretty unbelievable stuff, so maybe Envy will have some of that fortune come their way as well. We know how powerful it can be for roster changes and teams' motivations.
I'm excited to see JDM back. That's a very nice change, Launders.
For real, when's the last time we've seen him play?
An incredibly long time ago.
The Lounge Nation was angered.
Yeah. It's just a good collection of individual players that I think makes Envy really exciting, but that might not make them successful. Elige manages 3 kills off the 5-7, and then they instantly do flank back down mid at the exact same time. Therefore, Nifty's all alone. Sure, he clears Banana, but he does so after the fact once his teammates are already down. And because of that, he's got a lot of work to do. and not a lot of HP to do it. No surprise that the single scout shot drops him, and therefore, just like that, it is Liquid all tied up.
Now, it looked like they just one at a time did at the top of Banana, and Liege gets way more kills than he should. Instant one tap, there's nothing they can do, and then Nitro from the back obviously makes that happen. And then Sempus comes in for the trade. Alicia had taken no damage at that point, so it was kind of like a straight up 1v1 with the 5-7. And so I think the setup was really good from Liquid, but, you know, obviously Envy just simply needed a trade there.
And it was so fast, Liquid just attacking from both, of course, that front line of defense towards Banana and then a very rapid mid flank. Sometimes that can happen so quickly that if something goes bad, like a Liege getting a couple of kills, you know that in that moment, EnVyUs are probably scuttled in terms of communication. It's a bit of panic sinking in, and then the best way to emphasize panic is to just instill more of it.
Yeah.
So excellently done here by Liquid, most certainly earning what is now a collection of SMGs.
Yeah, revel in the chaos. Create more of it, for sure. I agree with all those things. And now, Sempus, bottom of Banana, poking around a little bit. Doesn't know that there's somebody tucked into a corner here. And Nifty trying to find an opening on his own with his Deagle. But they have a plan. They've got a bunch of utility, and they have 5 sets of armor, so they don't want to give up that man advantage for a 1v1 for no reason. Seems like they want to try to get into some kind of execute here. See if they can shoehorn their way up to mid.
Team Liquid already having established that bottom Banana control. They need not go any further. Just going to try to curb EnVyUs' control or any presence here in mid. At this current moment, it's going to be the straight up haystack push. 4 players there, 1 inside of the apartments, so maybe that duel goes favorably for Team Liquid. If Envy can clear balcony, then that would be a very good start for them here on this A take. But finally, we do get that activation from behind. Nice deagle from Nifty. That clears the closest corner. Taco's removed. Nitro then flies into the bomb site, and it's the crossfire between him and Twists that makes this one so succulent. 4 CTs are alive.
Yeah, it looks excellent for a second, and I like the confidence from Nifty to come up into the site like that with a deagle. And because they had pistols, it's still okay that they lost, but Twist was obviously the star player of Liquid from this position, able to get 3 at the end to make sure there's no bomb plant, holding down the pit. Probably the most important position on the A site, obviously as an anchor. A lot of the times it'll come down to you. And now Twist is also just going to charge down mid. That same Molotov that we see Astralis throwing.
Yeah, so consistently. All the time just kind of curbing that ramp to mid-peak. Definitely allows for Liquid to establish mid-control sooner on. Or any CPs for that matter. Twist gets a little hungry, and so does Liege. This MP5 launders, I feel like every time we're seeing these teams pick it up, it is
more
just
and more
utter movement. Like,
yeah.
It's almost more similar to, I would say, like the Mac 10/MP9 than it is really the MP7.
I agree with that. I can totally see that. It seems like everyone's holding W. It seems like they're jumping even more than they should, just because they believe that the accuracy is so on point that they can go ahead and spam mouse wheel and spacebar if you're a scrub. Use spacebar?
I spacebar and mouse wheel.
Okay. So that's kind of like training wheels. Like you might still do it by habit, and you like just
well,
for
if it's
comfort
a
to
single
have the
jump,
spacebar
you know, I'm going to use that spacebar. If I'm
Right.
going for the hops, we'll start mouse wheeling back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, just backwards actually, not forwards.
Be hopping backwards?
No, Scribe, you should scroll wheel back.
Oh, scroll wheel back. Yes,
Yeah.
because you get more inputs on your scroll.
Do you have anything bound to scroll wheel forward?
No.
That's how I take out the bomb.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You ever have a problem where it like takes it out by accident? I don't trust my scroll wheel. Like sometimes
Yeah,
it's
that's
resting in
true.
between 2 inputs and then it can fall off. That's actually how people jump by accident.
It happened yesterday, actually, I believe.
To a leash.
I was just going to bring that up.
Right.
So,
Cost them around, I think.
got to be careful. Cost him his life at the very least. That's for sure. Now we've got guns here, Launders, both ways as well. Nifty, just in case the fire spreads to his feet, but that shall not be the case. Alicia's going to charge inwards with the teammate's flash. He does get 1, and Nafly's scout has just been so on fire thus far.
He's been hitting everything. And even though now Envy know that they've shied at Liquid off of bottom Banana control, it came at quite a high cost. I'd say that Liquid handled that a lot better. And now they're worried about some kind of push. They're used to and conditioned to believe that Liquid are going to push everything. It's kind of unfettered aggression. Unfettered, is that the correct word?
I don't know.
We have to look that one up too on broadcast.
I would, but my computer's frozen, Launders.
That's fine. That's fine.
Wanted to find some words. We got to expand our vocabulary, right? Knowledge is key.
Knowledge is power.
And Taco could be even more powerful. Assuming the T's walk right in, there's the double. Nice 2 headshots and the peek from Twists on the other side. EnVyUs walking into a trap without ever knowing what was about to hit them.
Liquid will look very smart, very consistent right now. Everyone just holding their spots. It's kind of just on Envy to push them past that limit and have them get into positions where they have to fight from the bomb going down. So we don't know if they can do that yet. Nifty leading the way with 5 kills, and all 5 kills have been quite memorable so far, so it's good to see. I actually don't think Nifty's calling on the team right now. I believe it's Semphis. I believe Nifty didn't want to call.
Yes, I did hear that too.
Maybe he's just tired of it. I can totally understand why. IGLing is a very thankless job, and it's only fun when you win. And unless you're, you know, top 10 team in the world, you're not going to win most of your games.
That's true. Sad reality.
So it's a constant struggle.
Whoa, quick dink. Twists gets his teeth kicked in. Team EnVyUs still with enough utility and close enough presence to, I would say, throw this A site in question normally. But Team Liquid's defenses look so good thus far in the opening 5 rounds that maybe they get utterly denied. Wouldn't be surprised. It's happened. Not just once, but twice. Taco inside a smoke. He's going to lose his vision. Does come further back. And we've got a T down in pit. Drone manages to slip straight past Taco, who will get himself 1 kill, but Drone in the meantime got his hands on a rifle, so he goes from being dangerous to deadly. And they have these CTs isolated in the site. Once smoke fades, Drone can continue to hunt the angle, but the rotation is over for Liquid. That's Naf inside the library. The peak comes running upwards from EnVyUs, but a spray down from Nitro.
It's MP5 commercials every single round from different players now. That is really, really powerful stuff. And it looked like Envy did a good job getting pit control. They at least got out. Drone had 2 fantastic entries into the small pit with the CZ and made Taco's life a living nightmare. But past that, the trades were good across the board for Liquid. And obviously Nitro from that single box in the A site just laid it down with the MP5. And it just covers so many angles to sit against that wall. That's why it's become so popular for people to sit there. Yeah, they couldn't deal with him. Same exact Molotov, flying behind Drone. Drone's not going to take any chances, puts it out right away. He's definitely looking for a fight. Entry fragger of the team.
I was just about to say, beautiful entry off of balcony last round. He's an incredibly good pit player on Inferno. And that goes both ways, right? When you're very good at playing a spot defensively, I think that you have a bit of an edge when it comes to playing it on the offense too.
Kind of know what you would do. And if you're a good player, then you're going to be able to predict some plays. Ooh, that was quite a nade. JDM the slightest bit rattled. And in this phase of the round, this is what Inferno's all about. Trying to get damage in without being seen. And Liquid have had such kind of a successful bout at that. But now, EnVy are picking the correct site. Rotate's coming out for Liquid, but there are only 2 here right now. If EnVy execute fast enough, it might be a problem for Nafly.
Smoke seems as though it's going to delay it. That will therefore throw Nitro up and above. Teammate also behind, over towards the emo corner. He's hiding and sulking in the shadows. As the smoke fades, we may see this push forward. We do see the execution come back. Caution's tried to be dealt with, and Nifty with a clean entry, but Nafly again just landing these scout shots, softening them up and taking heads all at the same time. Beautiful double from Nifty, not going to allow for the man to move. Cutler even picking one up at the A site, puts a point on the board for EnVy. Last man spotted, not dealt with immediately, but of course, this therefore means there are some losses for EnVy. Other than that, beautiful stuff. They sat back, waited for smokes to fade, played their own execute, and I would say read the positions pretty well.
Yeah, a lot of teams will second guess once they get banana control, but once EnVy had it, they knew exactly what they wanted to do with the round. They didn't wait too long that they might get big flanked. The extra rotate did come in, and I think thankfully for them, Nifty only had the scout, but there was also the argument that Nifty went ahead and shot 1 bullet, which is relatively similar to having AWP, and he hit a headshot. So maybe that's the most. Sorry, yeah, Nafly, yeah. So that's the most amount of impact he might have had, no matter what weapon he was wielding. Also, Nifty's entry was pretty insane.
Yeah, it's very important to take that player off of boost. It's wild to me. I feel like sometimes we see teams on the offense not check it
all the time.
But there's constantly players there, especially more so when there's a smoke, because that way it's just like a favorable angle for the man up and above. It's important to kill Naf before he has a chance to reset, because I think a single peek from Nafly can...
it's a game changer.
Yeah.
But yeah, even I think the late flash there caught Nafly on his way out as well. So they did a good job with nades across the board, and that's kind of a good sustainable T round from Envy, which will help them look forward to this one. Oof. A couple of very heavy grenades land at the feet of Drone, and ooh, what a flash!
Yeah, nice flash and an even better peek. JDM has managed to find a 5 versus 4. Now there's that threat, the arch side spray down. There's also fire all across their feet. Look at that utility damage, Launders. That's like 150 straight away.
All that red, isn't that so satisfying to see?
4 out of the 5 players now for EnVyUs. Incredibly tagged up. Prime for the taking.
And again, this is a position where either Liquid don't have the man advantage, but they've done the best they can do in spite of that. And it's funny, look at this. Envy are starting to flash up banana, and that's going to alert the CTs, but the rotates are quite late, and they don't know if it's going to be a fake, so the overstack towards A is going to stand strong, and Nafly is the only one here to stop this whole push.
He has upgraded into the AWP. Did a good job with the scout, but the stakes are higher, and that's 2 crucial kills. Not only immediately shutting down the push on the B site, but also a softening over on A. Now Taco spots that the convoy has moved back in his direction. They have that anchor inside of the bomb site with a very damaged twists, but this utility is so consistent and constant that it does slow down these Ts. They cannot even afford themselves the cross. An utter lockdown here on the A site. That is Liquid back to the board.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have, if they had the smoke to do it, but a Moto smoke would have worked wonders for them there. They could have cut off rotations. They had enough to deal with, and they knew that because they had executed on B initially that they were going to at least pull people to Arch. You know, so that player in library, for example, wouldn't be able to get a kill. That's one threat down, and everybody else would probably end up behind that smoke. But that being said, I think the rotation back made sense. At first, it seemed like, okay, they could hit B here, but I feel like they're, when they had the 5v4, someone was in Boiler, and he exited early, ended up dying at the same time as Naf got his kill, and then suddenly it's a 4v3 in favor of Liquid, and Envy have to decide to make a panic rotate. What they didn't know is that the Op was the only player there at that moment, and if they had 5 up, and they just went for the full execute, they probably would have been able to take B one more time.
Now they're playing a little more patiently, not clearing out the apps until only now, and doing so with 1 player. We've seen a lot of Ts up in there at times. What's going on towards spawn here?
Spawn for the CTs?
No, I'm talking about these terrorists still floating outside theirs. Got a guy up in the apartments, maybe watching windows. Can't quite tell from the radar. I'm just thinking all it's going to do is eventually delay them if they find an opening. If one man were to connect a Deagle headshot, it's not as though they're going to be able to burst off of the 5v4. And now as they finally come to join their teammates, they've realized they've died. So banana control is what they shall contest, and Nafly, angle after angle, falls back smoothly into the safety of his site. Bomb joins what remains of Envy. And Nafly is no longer alone. There are 2 snipers in position, so could just be immediately shut down. Even before the smoke fades, JDM takes one to the legs, and Elige is here to drop the totem pole. He knows they're in there. And so Cutler left alone.
It's going to be just too much. And yeah, the ops are ringing off on both sides. Nafly is getting a lot of damage in, didn't even realize it. A couple of shots through the smoke, one through the wall. He has been locking it down for sure. A leash spot on the totem pole, and then following the frag to where somebody might naturally go.
Yeah, the most logical, or one of the most logical positionings.
So now we got JDM back on the op. That's another thing. Nifty is not opping on this team. He's just going to be rifling. It's probably a little bit more versatile than JDM, so not surprising that he's going to allow JDM, who specializes in the op, to let him do his thing.
I feel like that's actually one of the appeals of Envy, right? We ask ourselves, how is it that Nifty ended up here? And I had heard that he didn't want to IGL and he didn't want to op. So a role swap is, I think, what kind of suits him in this lineup. You have Semphis, who has taken that burden at times throughout the multiple iterations of his rosters.
Now he's just got to dye his hair, get his ears pierced, and he's a brand new man.
Yeah. And a beautiful one at that. A tank of a human being. That's the thing. They say EnVyUs, they need a carry. Well, Semphis can put this whole team on his legs.
Ooh. Yeah, that's true. He could drag a tank solo.
Ooh, nice attempt by Nifty. Doesn't manage to find that pick. Would have been beautiful if he had done so, because it completely isolates the remainder of the A players, but maybe seeing so much presence on Arch is the reason Envy have decided to rotate towards B. It's not the first time they've done this, right? Applying pressure on A only to move to the opposite side, but they've also run into this problem more than once. Nafly connecting more shots. Even despite taking damage, he does still stand, and he welcomes EnVyUs into the site itself because Elige is over here towards New Box. Let's trade frags back and forth, but Cutler seems to be getting the best of Liquid, and Nitro just goes to find cover. He's got a teammate nearby who's now blocked off by smoke, so Envy have done a very good job of at least securing this site, and they will plant on top of it unless Taco abrupted all of that play. However, doesn't happen. And the bomb is down. Twists and Nitro to work together. Gonna work the boost. That's an easy kill versus Cutler, and the second spray down helps out with Nitro's pick. Nifty 1v2, 7 health. He can do this, but now he's just gonna hold into the corner, and Twist has no way to get him out. So he peeks on his own terms, and that is what costs him.
That was a good chance. That was a good chance. I like that he peeked there. I mean, obviously he heard the jump. He had the opportunity to take the shot. He even had like a couple moments there to fix his crosshair, but Envy just kind of fell apart with his other two teammates. If he only had 7 HP, you know, he's supposed to be the trump card at the end of the round, but he's not supposed to be 1v2ing, especially not in the 3v2. So I think the spots were fine. They just literally need to hit their shots, and they both kind of fluffed their kills. And I think Nitro did a good job of covering Twist, holding down Emo, while Twist was up on the boost and killed the player who was sitting on default. And now that's a round that they lost, that they probably should have won.
Seeing a lot of bodies. Elige not going to try and push the issue. Good kill from Drone the first time round, and Semphis gets himself another. They're not hit by that flank as quickly, despite it being there. You see these two CTs hot on the heels of Envy, and they're just waiting for it to happen. I think they know. They realize that this has occurred, and yet again, it's there. But Taco stands still, despite being on 8 HP. Both JDM and Semphis incredibly low, but Nitro has fallen as well. Taco could clutch this, or Envy have managed themselves around. They had absolutely no business winning. Molly pushes them into the open. Taco, he's preemptively peeking, but denied nonetheless. Yeah. That is Envy with a third.
Yeah, took his time there at the end, but that was really good, a really good eco rush from Envy. I mean, I think one of the most important kills was watching the flank in those early moments. But it felt like Liquid did a good job of using their utility. I like how when they threw the Molotov, it went down just shallow enough that it was effective, and then they dropped that. I think Nafly dropped his one grenade on the way back. That probably had some good impact as well. And even still, Envy with the pistols were able to find a couple of openings. Quite surprising stuff. But overall, you know, Envy losing the last round, that was a full-on rifle round where they had a really clear path to victory. It's something that they need to be more worried about. And again, at this point, even though they lost that round, Liquid are still up 8-3.
Yeah, had they been able to establish and finish off the previous, then I think that's when we're looking at possibly a 5-6 half for Envy. Could still get there, but not going to be the easiest of jobs just yet. You have not broken Liquid, seeing as they had such a momentous start. Such a narrow angle. It's so difficult to do anything about if you're an EnVyUs player as well. It's not a duel you often see Nitro would lose, right?
Yeah, and he's relying on the smoke obviously at mid, so it's not just a free angle that he can hold for the whole round. But
once that smoke fades, it opens up further angles for him. You see him exploring middle, trying to find that pick, but nobody actually presents themselves for Envy, so he does decide to fall off. Twists has been seen, and so he retreats. Just as Taco comes back for more. Team Envy playing with time here as we hit that 30-second mark. JDM still just trying to find this angle, trying to get himself that pick. A 5-4 would be a great look for Envy, or they go for the trade train straight into A. Taco being given chances, but not making the most of either. It's still Nitro up, and he too goes down for free. Damage is there. Look at EnVyUs' health. Tells the tale of a hardened battle, but one that still favors the T side.
Yeah, Envy picked a very difficult site to crack open, but they found a way to do it. I felt like they did a good job of taking care of each other in those trade situations, and there were probably a couple of moments where Liquid were like, whoa, why didn't I get that kill? You know, missed op shot, a little bit of a fluff spray, but that still doesn't count for all 4 players, and at the very least, I think we would have had a 2v2 post plant, which could have still favored Envy. So looking a lot stronger now, and looking and also economically, in much better shape. 4 players alive, and they move now into the next round with this retaining the op, knowing that Liquid have only saved 2 rifles. And I don't know if they'll be aware that Liquid will have to save, but it should be fairly obvious that they don't have much money to buy behind this. So I assume they treat this somewhat like a force buy, and then see if it actually turns into an anti-eco, depending on what nades are thrown. Definitely something that's important is to remember for the CTs that if they're going to do a force up, sometimes they want to make it seem like an eco if they are going to spend all their money, and then they don't throw as many nades early on. And then they use that to bait Envy into making a bad decision, moving in on a site too early before getting information.
They see nothing come flying down from B. So easy for the defenders on Inferno to just chuck nades in the opening 15 seconds, but no, nothing shown. And normally this is the phase where Envy are actually applying a bit of pressure on the A site, so maybe Liquid will read into the fact that there's nothing there and try to rotate preemptively. They're gonna have to do it now. Olige, maybe lucky to be alive. He found a first player with his back turn clearing the boost. Nifty still drops him for absolutely nothing back until finally Drone does die. Nafly manages one through smoke, but that smoke has been refurbished. And still he finds these angles. This is great rifle work from Naf because it buys enough time for everybody else to come over. And at this point, Team Envy have no plant with the bomb thrown in the open, and these last 2 players having to give up what was after plant positions in order to secure some cash. All the while, with 50 seconds, they know that flank is open. They may just go for kills here, trying to whittle down the numbers prior to getting into the plant. Cutler and JDM then dropped. That is Liquid with a 9th.
Man, they had round over there. They had the pop flash come in. Liquid were assuming that because they didn't throw any nades in, it was going to be an easy bait. They'd probably get a free kill if it was going to be some kind of contact play. But the initial flash was great. Elise got caught completely off guard. Nafly couldn't save him. And then Nafly goes ahead and gets 2 kills through the smoke. And then as he's getting those kills, his teammates come through CT, making it like way worse than it should have been. That should have been a plant down 5v5 situation, or 5v4 situation for Envy. Like, no questions asked.
I feel like that was all Nafly. Really anchored that bomb site well.
Yeah, he kind of does the impossible there, and like he hit like maybe 8, 9 direct shots through the coffins to kill the planner.
It's going to be that fight for Banana. Liege wins it immediately, and then they retreat. Drone, who was behind this half wall, but kind of dealing with flames and a flash, could not get into the equation here to trade back into 4v4.
So now Envy once again moving back towards B, doing it quite early. And you know what, I appreciate this. I feel like there's only so much you need to do, and a lot of the times teams are wasting too many nades trying to pick what site to go to, and a lot of that can get cut down. I feel like they're keeping it kind of clean and sensible, but they're having such good openings on the sites and not being able to close out rounds. They need to change that up here and now.
Arch fully open for the taking until they find contact versus Nitro. He's inside the library right now. Haven't quite seen all too much from JDM in terms of cracking open bomb sites. Not yet, that is. Drone's going to try to entry a little bit towards the B site. Has to be cautious not to die. Most importantly, because the rest of the team is now coming over, but he does see the kneecap of Naf, does not anticipate a second player up there, but still he takes both heads. Beautiful entry here from Drone. He's going to just immediately push his way back around towards construction as well, because he entries at such a pace that he should expect the rotates not to already be here, and he would be right.
That is Drone's comfort zone. This is exactly what he wants to do. Gets caught somewhat off guard and still manages both kills. I mean, that's, you know, these are 2 juggernauts of the NA scene right there that go down to just him. So very well done. I know he's somebody who talks about entry fragging, and he says he loves it because I think, like, for the same reason some people love offing, you know, they can change the course of an entire round, just them. And with entries, that's the same deal. As you can see, 3 people on the A side didn't even think about going for a retake, and that's the power of getting those entries, especially back to back and like that cleanly.
Yeah.
And he likes to have that ability and be able to do that for his team. He's doing a fantastic job so far.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, you'll get in-game leaders who obviously love, like, team-based play. You'll get AWP players who need that team-based play. But I think Drone is one of those players who just, like, philosophically speaking about Counter-Strike, is all very much team-centric. Mm-hmm. He loves, you know, kind of discussing the importance of roles and the importance of everybody putting in their work. He knows what he can offer a team, and so he does that very well.
Yeah, they definitely know him the best of anyone on the team, and he just always is talking about nades or new strategies, or just like thinking about the game and like philosophies about the game. He really just games hard.
It's one of those little Counter-Strike nerds.
Exactly.
But we love those kinds of guys.
Yeah.
Makes the matches that much more exciting, elevates the level of play, and creates these kinds of scenarios where Team Envy, of all the opponents, right, this is their first matchup this season, have managed to at least get 5 rounds versus Liquid. And I would say that, you know, coming into this, obviously, a lot of these players not having been seen in competitive play for a little bit of time, this is a good accomplishment for them already. It's not done, and I think once Liquid switches over, we could see them really unleash.
No, yeah, it's no secret. Liquid are still kind of like owning at this game. They're having a lot of great rounds. They individually look very sharp, and it's still a long shot that Envy even close this out. But definitely some highlights. A lot of focus on them just because it's a new team.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of eyes on this match for the Envy fans who are kind of laying in wait for this next roster.
It's like I'm not watching this game and giving attention to Envy because I think it's going to be an upset. I'm just more so wanting to see what state they come in on. Right? There's 6 teams who make it to the LAN finals, and that 6th spot, I think, can be assumed by a lot of rosters. I think there are still some outliers ahead of the pack. Liquid has to be one, but once we get into the kind of middle of the meet, it's very, very close. Envy looking to be a contender. They do still contend this side of Archway. Nafly potentially walking forward once he hears the feet near, but he's yet to go for it. Just trying to stay as focused and honed in as possible. Will do so successfully, dropping drone, keeping it 3v3 as the rest of the Ts do manage to get their feet on the bomb site. So it is an A plant. It's not the first time we're seeing bomb go down in the last few waning seconds. So I like that Envy play in those pressured situations. Liege is the next man down. Caught off guard by Cutler here inside the apps, where in fact, it looks like he falls away until Naf finds him just as he turns. Launders, the timing not playing into his favor. But the timing not helping Liquid either. We're halfway through that bomb. 2v2, turn 1. Only Nafly remains here, and both these Ts are within the site. Don't know if they've been confirmed. I don't believe with the way he looks, but Nafly could still do this. A single bullet to Nifty's head would drop him, and a bomb tap's trying to allude to the peak, but he never sees it coming. Beautiful play from Nifty, just floating around the box, and an excellent half from Envy.
Yeah, and now, like, victory is actually within arm's reach. You know, this is a much more manageable scoreline. Really good in this last round. I'm not exactly sure what was happening with Drone, like, walking back and forth through the smoke, and Nafly did a great job tracing him in the smoke, just listening to those footsteps and staying oriented somehow. But overall, I think he did a good job distracting them while the rest of his teammates went through lane, and it actually pulled 2 players to focus on trying to kill him, and that was enough time for the bomb to go down, and then they played the after plant really well.
It's wild. Remember, EnVyUs, they started this off with a pistol that was then turned into a 5-1 lead for Liquid. Had they fully converted those pistol rounds, and had they won that one round where they have an after plant on the B site and strong positioning, I mean, they could have actually had the 9 rounds that Liquid currently holds on
yeah.
to.
In terms of rounds they should have won, yeah, they should be in the lead now.
Yeah,
That's true.
That would have been wild.
That's a good point.
But alas, still, I'm sure happy and content with what they've achieved. They're just going to have to take that success and mirror it here on the second.
I like this move. It's very calm, almost serene.
I should speak slower when it happens.
Yeah, really meet the mood.
What's the mood in the pistol? How much utility have we got? Nitro smoke already out. A couple flashbangs behind it, so this is going to be a rapid B hit. And the 2 men to be tested, well, that's going to be both Semphis and Nifty. One just at the side of the smoke. I mean, he ate the flashbang, pops in his face, and still so many players are there. So they get nothing in terms of a hold, and that puts the entirety of this prospect back onto the 3 remaining players, one of which with a single point of health. Poor Drone. A mouthful of block. Alish clears him as we finally watch Envy get onto the kill feed, but it is only 1 at this moment, so it's going to need crisp headshots from here on forward, and it is not looking all too good. Liquid started off with winning this pistol.
That's crazy. Very ferocious pistol where they took top banana quickly, and even through the smoke, I think they wanted it to be down so they could flash through it. They called out that Nifty would be playing in front of it. They even spammed him down to half HP before the execute even started, and then they didn't line up in front of where his crosshair was, and I don't know how much of that is luck or just avoiding that wall, but they ended up making sure that they got him killed as well. So Nifty had everything going for him. That's exactly what he wanted to have happen, where the smoke would go down and he could fight on the other side of it with a CZ of all things, and they did a great job of neutralizing him, just totally eliminating both players in the B site, not losing an entry in that situation. So now we're on the anti-eco. Tough sledding for Envy. Only 6 rounds here, and it's looking a lot less than it did last round, just because we know that they don't have a high a high chance of actually winning now. But what do Liquid want to do? There's still always the opportunity that they run into the stack accidentally. This round, however, Liquid have turned their attention, taken their talents, moved their people towards the A site.
These rounds are always kind of fun to watch. When you have all the information of the radar, it's like, it looks so ridiculous. Cautiously peeking corners, spamming and pre-firing. You know, just go, run, move it forward. But they'll have to take their time. You know, it's important to be cautious, both in Counter-Strike and life.
No round comes for free. Yeah, that's very good life advice in general. And bomb gets taken right back to B. But it could be a split. That's kind of interesting.
I feel like maybe with this presence being found in CT spawn, it's at that point that the bomb moves back towards A. Because remember, they've left Taco still over there. But yeah, there you have it. Elish feeling out this presence reads into the fact that A does seem open. Whoa. Caught off guard by Nifty. Didn't even really seem prepared whatsoever. But that's all right. 8 seconds left and Liquid hit the A site. In a round like this, with nothing in their hands of their opponents, I mean, they burn it down to 5 seconds left over. Still very slow from Liquid. And you know what? This kind of reserved and tempered pace is something that surprised me when we were watching them play yesterday versus Luminosity. Yeah. So still doing the same versus Envy. Not writing off teams that sometimes you might think they would.
They are. I kind of like that they were saving, but then they kind of just actually started filtering their way back to A. Drone dies here. I think that would be kind of hard to justify. Then maybe they should have decided to tighten up ship over in the B site and save those pistols for the next round, because it didn't seem like they had any. They didn't seem like they wanted to rotate over based on anything. They wanted to just sit in B, take the risk there, but that clearly wasn't the correct option. But I believe in the gamble. And the worst feeling is when you sit in the site for 1:30 and then you decide to hightail it to the other site and then you get jebaited, right? You never want that to happen. So sometimes it's better to just pull the 50-50, just stick to your guns, put it on red every round.
Every single time.
Every round.
Until you're broke and stranded in Macau.
Until you're rich and you can helicopter back.
I hope are these odds really true? If they are, okay, if we were coming into the game, then all right, maybe, but...
That's really true.
Like,
they actually update at half, so they get even more crazy at the half. So depending on what the score is going to be, I'm not exactly sure how the betting works. I'll get clarification on that with the updated halftime scores, but at the beginning of the game, it's the odds look a lot more reasonable.
Still a stack up from Envy, this time with less pieces than what they had in the prior. Going to be an initial convoy from Liquid over here towards the B site. While half blind, Nitro still survives the storm. Him and Elish doing work now with the assists and just picking up kills aplenty. Memphis manages one. Reload needs to go in. Elish has got it. 30 fresh bullets right off the tree. The Glock to finish it off? No, sir. It's going to take the AK of Taco, which means 12-6 here for Liquid. They get through the technicalities. Now it's Envy's turn to buy.
Yeah, two of the three SMGs go down. No big deal for Liquid. No sweat off their back. They rebuy into this, get the AKs that they wanted to. Envy going up against less of a bonus round, but now it's a harder round to win. So pick your poison in that sense. But at least they get some economy off of Liquid so that they can move into this round, feel a little bit better about winning it, not feel like they're just totally lost. But this round they have no kits, so part of the strategy has to revolve around that. Certainly they save if the bomb goes down almost immediately, and they're going to rely heavily on trying to get the opening kill, make it difficult for an afterplant situation. Not necessarily the worst decision, but you know, it's a little bit risky.
Two Colonel defenders here for Envy. Going to be Cutler and JDM within the bomb site. Rotate's already coming out from Library, and the hold looks fantastic. It's already a 5v3. Now, it's all about not letting Liquid punch you straight back in the teeth, but there you have it. A couple of swift headshots coming in from Liquid, and another one as well. They know the man is back there, and with a 3v5 on the A site, Liquid blast Envy into pieces.
Just so many questions. And Nifty, he has no kit once again. The bomb's not gone down quite yet, but the 1v3 still on as the time ticks down. Finally, the plan will come out. He's throwing a smoke to cover himself from pit. launches a Hail Mary Molotov and gets traded by Elige. 4 frags for Elige on the A site in the 3v5.
Yeah, beautiful.
Man, what an entry from Naf as well. I don't even know how he made that happen, but this was not supposed to go down this way. I mean, people just needed to hit a little bit more of their shots in this last portion.
Yep. And I think that is what does kind of boil down in this matchup is like I've seen some cool executes from Envy. We've seen nice stacks. It seems like they're taking every round very seriously. You know, they've robbed one away with just pistols, and that's no easy feat. But in reality, Liquid are better than you pound for pound.
Right. They've just got to aim a little bit better. Like,
yep.
Almost literally just that. You know, maybe it's pressure, maybe it's just clogged communication, but those weren't even particularly difficult trades. Like, they know how to do that. They can spray and everything like that, but still, maybe it's just the confidence of Liquid shining through.
Nice grenade.
That was quality.
Now, if only they had chucked a Molotov off the skybox, because if that burns at the feet of Semphis and Drone, it's going to really start dispatching of this defense.
Yeah, they've got a couple of them.
Right now, it looks like they're just going to play with the smokes. Elige comes barreling past. I don't think they anticipated him to be so close. Another multi-frag from Elige. This time, just 3, but the 4th could still be on the menu until Nitro gets his double. That is a full house between him and Elige. An excellent entry as well for Team Liquid. Again, a stack up from Envy. They're trying to reposition. They're trying to keep things fresh and catch Liquid off guard. But Liquid is just so damn good.
Yeah, they're just so damn good. But, you know, they put it on red again. They at least get him into the stack, which is nice. They had a few opportunities to get kills there. Elige just went off with that spray. And once he got all the way to grill, which is where you want to go first as a player trying to clear things, the player at orange, if they don't peek out and try to kill you while you're crossing, are now at a disadvantage, because now if they're completely tucked in, they can't see you, but you can still see half their body. And so that's not the ideal situation, especially not when you just have pistols. Nifty somehow avoiding that flash completely. But now is back on the op. Double op set up, very powerful on Inferno. Elige down to past half HP. And a good final nade as well. Somehow, Elige survives that.
It's not easy to hold back the heavy hitters of Liquid. So it is something to give Envy some credit for. But it doesn't last all too long. Elige already trying to pry around these corners. Doesn't want to chance his life away, seeing as it's 27 health. Separating him from death's doorstep. They're also knocking on another door. That's the A site. Challenging brackets, clearing porch, spamming a bit on arch side.
Certainly Liquid can't be too nervous or overly nervous in this situation. Still default for Liquid. But now they've actually walked their way off B just as arch gets taken over. So Drone playing far back, I don't know if he spotted that. That could be a big piece of information he would have gained. And is going even farther towards B. The B split's not on either.
The rotate cannot help out these defenders. JDM and Cutler alone. Cutler comes out from pit, will manage a single kill. Hell, he even gets the double. But it's Nafly that's the problematic portion of this round. He gets 2 kills, both those core defenders, and therefore the bomb plant is put down with ease. Who's next? Nifty and Semphis, but they're so far away that they realize they should save. And that, therefore, Mohan, is a 15th round for Liquid. Excellent stuff as they continue to just berate these bomb defenders. It seems like they've been doing a very good job of kind of sectioning off rotates.
Yeah.
This time with that CT control.
Yeah, with the CT control, I just feel like it was maybe, I don't know if it was unlucky for Drone, but the way that he backed off, it was just every time he picked a new angle to fall back to, Liquid would encroach on that last angle, take a little bit more map control, and it seemed like it was a bit of fortunate timing for Liquid, but maybe they had a hand in causing the communication to have Drone pull more slightly towards B, but it seemed like they definitely were stacking the wrong site in general. So you could say that Liquid gambled correctly, or they influenced in all the best ways. And then once they get onto the site, it's just 2 players left over. And what can you do with 2 players? Not a whole lot.
You know, at this point, okay, EnVyUs, they only have 6 rounds, but I think I give them half points for at least another 6, right? They definitely had some footing and a good challenge in multiple, but
I was thinking about that with like how could you score the rounds, because they don't win them, but they win like almost the harder part.
Yeah, they deserve credit, right? They're not winning rounds, but they are winning credit in my mind. It's a promising look for them. I don't think this is one of those games that actually tells of how close things could have been. A 16-6 finish is looking very likely, and I don't think that tells the entire story.
Yeah, it would still be a hard case to make to say that Envy would win this game, but obviously 6 rounds looks like it's stomped territory, whereas it definitely seemed like Envy's game plan was shining through quite a bit more than it appeared.
Most certainly on that T side. I think once we've had Liquid switch over, they've certainly taken control of the situation, made it much more their own game, and I would anticipate that. It's very difficult for a bunch of guys like EnVyUs' players to come back and contest what is the best in NA. But they are going to try it once more here on the A site. Poor old JDM left alone, and there you go, folks. It is 16-6, a 10-point difference to the favor of Team Liquid, winning on Inferno and kicking off Day 4 of the North American Pro League.
Yeah, and this is, one of the 2 hardest teams that they're going to have to play in Pro League, so a tough way to kick off the season, but a great way to get that real practical experience versus strong players.
Yeah, a very long time that we haven't seen these players of Team EnVyUs, going toe-to-toe with the best. And even if you're losing, you're at least losing to the best. So good experience, and I'm sure good exposure to begin the season. If you get Liquid out of the way, I'm sure they're looking forward to the middle of the pack type teams. And that'll have to wait for another. But you guys need to wait for map 2. It's going to be coming your way in just a few seconds, so I urge you not to go too far.